Hello. Thank you for joining our Sunday service for February 27th, 2022. Service will begin with ringing of kansho, followed by Reverend Mukujima leading sutra chanting of Junirai. Then the Dharma School 5th and 6th grade class will lead reading of the Golden Chain. There will be a Dharma message, and then we will conclude our service. Thank you for joining us today.
And now the 5th and 6th grade class will present the golden chain.
I am a link in the Buddhist golden chain of love that stretches around the world.
I must keep my link bright and strong.
I will try to be kind and gentle to every living thing and protect all who are weaker than myself.
I will try to think pure and beautiful thoughts, say pure and beautiful words, and do pure and beautiful deeds, knowing that my actions will result in not only my happiness or unhappiness, but also the happiness and or unhappiness as others as well.
May every link in the Buddha's golden chain of love be bright and strong, and may we all attain in perfect peace.
Namo Amida Butsu.
Namo
Namo
Namo Amida Butsu.
Namo Amida Butsu.
Namo Amida Butsu.
Namo
Those who are among the followers of this tradition should be well aware of the import of the provisions of these 6 articles. They should deeply entrust in the Buddha Dharma within their hearts, but should act so that they show no signs of it outwardly. Hence, it is a particularly grave error these days that persons of the Nembutsu within this tradition deliberately reveal the way of our tradition to those of other sects. In sum, hereinafter, you should uphold the meaning of this proviso and practice the Buddha Dharma. Persons who disobey the essence of these rules will never again be numbered among the followers of this tradition. Do not denigrate shrines of the kami. Do not belittle the various Buddhas or Bodhisattvas or their shrines. Do not slander the many other Buddhist schools or teachings. Do not act rudely towards military governors or local land stewards. Since the Buddha Dharma is being incorrectly taught in this province, direct yourselves towards the correct teaching. Be deeply settled within your heart in Shinjin of other power as established in this tradition. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namanda. 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 Hello, everyone. Thank you for viewing our online service for February 27th of 2022. Today's opening reading is part of one of the letters written by Renyo Shonin, the 8th Monshu of our Jodo Shinshu Honganji. His picture is in the Onaijin to the left of the central figure, which in our Hondo is Amida Buddha. This letter is part of the Gobunsho, a collection of letters written by Renyo to clarify and propagate Jodo Shinshu and Shinran's teachings. The letters were written in common Japanese language of the time to help many people understand the teachings, and equally important at that time, to address some of the behavior of specific groups of Jodo Shinshu followers. These letters and Renyo's efforts helped save our Jodo Shinshu Hongan teachings, and this is why Renyo is often referred to as the restorer of Jodo Shinshu of Honganji. Renyo also used his letters to correct divergent beliefs that had become common among many Shin Buddhist priests and lay followers. An example of this, one of these beliefs would be that some special good teachers had secret teachings, and to be born in the Pure Land, you must follow only those who claim to have these secret teachings. These good teachers would hold ceremonies in the middle of the night using the secret teachings to bring someone to the realization of Shinjin. Then that individual was sworn to secrecy and told they would suffer great tragedy and fall into hell if they ever revealed the secret. Another example of that birth in the Pure Land could be attained by Nembutsu practice without Shinjin. And what that means is one would just have to do the physical act of reciting Nembutsu, Namo Amida Butsu, and then be born in the Pure Land. And as we know, this is a false belief that led Renyo to really emphasize heavily that Shinjin is the path to the Pure Land, and Nembutsu is the act of gratitude for Amida's guidance for all of us to follow that path. So Renyo was a very important figure in our Jodo Shinshu tradition. Now, last week, the Boy Scouts had their trivia game, and it was brought up that many Japanese people, when surveyed about their religion, they answered that they follow both Buddhist and Shinto. Shinto is a religion or belief system that developed in Japan. The most basic and common aspect of Shinto is the belief that there are kami, or supernatural entities, that are in all things. The Japanese word kami is sometimes translated as God or gods, and that can be misleading. For most Americans or most Westerners, when we hear the word God, usually an image of someone who looks like a human comes to our mind. In Shinto, there are kami who have been characterized as human forms, such as Amaterasu, who's the sun goddess. However, kami are also entities that exist in such things as plants and rocks and the wind and the rain, and they don't have a distinct human form. So when we look at the words of Renyo in the opening of today's Dharma message, there were 6 articles from the letter that he wrote to the followers he was addressing that were in the ancient province or older province of Echizen, actually, which is now part of the prefecture of Fukui. The first 4 of those 6 articles were guiding these followers away from displaying antisocial behavior. At that time, some Honganji followers were being very loud and aggressive, using offensive words, and basically kind of bullying those in Shinto followers of Shinto shrines and other Buddhist temples. Also, some of those followers were living on land owned by shrines and temples, and they would refuse to pay their taxes, and some would even rise up and try to take the land away by force. So Renyo was, using his letter to try and really put a stop to these things. Especially during this time, the Honganji was being attacked very heavily by other Buddhist sects and their political supporters. Renyo himself was constantly moving to avoid the personal attacks against him. In fact, when he wrote this particular letter, he was living in this area of Ichizen, and that he may have actually gone to Reverend Mukajima's hometown of Obama and stayed there for a little bit while he was around the same time as he wrote this letter. But through this letter, Renyo was not only trying to stop the wrong conduct of his followers in this area of bullying the other sects and Shinto followers, but he's also stopping actions that would bring attention to those Honganji followers and continue to bring attacks from the other Buddhist sects and political powers that were going after the Honganji. It was needed to do this to avoid conflicts and politics so that the Honganji could actually continue to survive. And the two last of the 6 articles are directing these followers back to the main essence of our Shin Buddhist teachings, of our Jodo Shinshu tradition, which is to truly settle into Shinjin and gratefully accept the other power of Amida's primal vow to ensure our birth in the Pure Land. Now, turning back to the topic of kami, the first article in this letter says, do not denigrate the shrines of kami, which are primarily the Shinto shrines. In a typical Shinto shrine today, you would enter through a series of gates or tori, and those would lead you to where the kami is. The place where kami exists are either some sort of natural power spot, like a a very old and unique tree or a unique rock formation, or sometimes the kami were housed in honden, a special building built to be the place for the kami to reside. And Renyo taught that kami were just different forms or manifestations of Buddhas and Bodhisattvas who took the form of kami to better develop karmic relationships with people. Also, all Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, if you look at the other second article in his letter, refers to them. He taught that they were transformed bodies of Amida Buddha, whose intentions were to teach sentient beings the Nembutsu. Renyo further explained that through these relationships, all kami and other Buddhas are embodied within Amida Buddha. So therefore, when you follow Nembutsu practice, you should also respect the purpose of all divine figures, all Buddha, Bodhisattvas, and kami. Renyo also taught that because of this relationship, though you may not worship the kami or follow the other Buddhas, you shouldn't defy them. And this is the way that many times from this time, and actually starting a little bit before it, the Japanese people's belief system that kind of commingled Shinto, kami, and Buddhist thoughts and traditions, this is really where it all started to kind of come together. So to kind of go back to the interesting highlight or fact that was brought up by the Boy Scouts last week, this is how many people today in Japan even still will say, oh, I follow both Shinto and Buddhism. Now, the last part of this letter and the last two articles are really the key points. Well, really, there's two key points in Renyo's letter. One is don't be boisterous and don't draw attention to yourselves. And it's very much in line with the same thinking that Shinran espoused as part of his writings and his teachings, and also referring to what he learned from the written words of Chantal. It really is saying, you know, you don't, your ego would make you want to essentially brag a little bit about your beliefs, but this is something that's counter to what the beliefs are really trying to teach you and emphasize. So Renyo, again, at the end of the letter, really tries to bring it back to the basics of Shin Buddhist and Jodo Shinshu thought, encouraging these followers, please be humble, be a little bit flying under the radar to avoid conflict, but to fully entrust in Amida's primal vow, and that is the path to the birth in the Pure Land. So in closing, let's reflect on Renyo's words to the people of Ichizen, which helped them avoid conflict and directed them towards the true Pure Land teachings. Please join me in Gassho. Do not denigrate shrines of the kami. Do not belittle the various Buddhas or Bodhisattvas or their shrines. Do not slander the many other Buddhist schools or teachings. Do not act rudely towards military governors or local land stewards. Since the Buddha Dharma is being incorrectly taught in this province, direct yourselves to the correct teaching. Be deeply settled within your heart in Shinjin of other power as established in this tradition. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namanda, 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 Namanda. All right. So thank you everyone for joining us today. Thank you for your attention. And as always, please stay safe and stay healthy. Thank you. Thank you again for joining us for our Sunday service. Whether you're viewing this together with other Sangha members in our Zoom watch party on Sunday morning, or if you went to our temple's YouTube channel and are viewing this at your convenience, we're glad that you are taking your time to join us for our services. Thank you to Reverend Mukajima for leading the sutra chanting of Junirai, and thank you to the Dharma School 5th and 6th grade class for leading the recitation of the Golden Chain. Again, thank you, and everyone please stay safe and stay healthy.